What is the most strange thing you have seen while jailed? In the county jail I was denied bail because I committed a felony. Some of the convicts at this institution were moved to other jails around the state due to its extreme overcrowding. But I was one of those prisoners sitting for 7 months until my next court hearing. I made some friends before I was transferred. For the most part, everyone got along well and loved using their resources to gamble on card games. Shelby was this little child that was there. Due to an accusation of possessing a hard substance, he was placed under arrest. Very wealthy kid, very frail young guy, me 25. Each week, his parents give him $50 to spend on commissary items. For $50, you can purchase a metric tons of ramen noodles. He loved to gamble it away, and he did. Everything was great when he settled his debts. It is my day to be moved. The prisoners inform me that since it's a Wednesday, I'll probably end up in Pelham County Prison. They warn me that it's a dangerous location and to exercise caution. All in all, the drive to make the transfer took 4 hours. Straightforward to South Georgia's Pelham County. When we arrived, this location hardly resembles a jail. It's a dilapidated looking structure that appears to be ready to collapse. It's also really small. I'm hoping to survive this ordeal. However, things worsen significantly. We check in, have our fingerprints taken, and have our jumpsuits changed into theirs. Prison stripes in white and black. They then lead us on foot to several cell blocks. We are 5 in number. Everybody is white. After that, my friend and I are led to the final cell block, D block. The door at the end of the hallway is just a large metal door. Whatever is going on beyond that door, it's noisy. Every step makes it louder, and I'm having a lot of trouble believing that I will be inside that door for the next 6.5 months. When we arrive at the door, it opens. The opening is immediately crowded with people making requests. Please give me a call. I'll fetch some nail clippers now. When will the nurse arrive? Just inquiries and demands. There were no white faces among them. It was all face tattoos, gold teeth, and black heads. You can only speculate as to my thoughts at the time. I was thinking, well, I'm screwed. I should put on my combat boots now. When I entered, there were 5 cells on each side of the room pressed up against the walls. Nearly at the end of the cell block, the other white man I was with moved ahead of me in search of an empty bunk to take. I'm standing just past the main door, carrying everything I own, and I'm kind of staring about, unsure of where to start. Have I mentioned how loud this place is? Suddenly I hear, "Hey, white boy, come in here to my left." When I glance, I see an enormous older white man who is chuckling. Thank heavens, I practically raced in and dropped my belongings. He welcomed me to the cell block, gave me a cigarette, and we introduced ourselves. Gave me the lowdown and everything was fine. I weigh 190 pounds, so I'm sort of a large guy, but I'm in great shape. I guess no one bothered me or my cellmates since I seem like I may make a mistake. About 52, he belonged to the Outlaw Motorbike Club and had numerous tattoos. His purpose for being there was drug trafficking. A few weeks pass and I observe that it's quite raucous. There are occasionally fights, nothing major, but generally speaking, you're okay as long as you keep your mouth shut. But these people are truly barbaric. This one black guy who was in on a murder case told me his narrative and kept attempting to communicate to me. Homeless, he finally got over this other guy by giving him some drugs. At first he seemed fine, but it was immediately apparent that something wasn't quite right, as though he was mentally ill. Considering he was homeless, he was in fairly decent shape, good genes, I suppose. But the problem was that one day he said something really strange to me, like, "You're a pretty guy, you shouldn't be in this place." I knew he was gay the moment he said that and the manner he said it. I took a step back. A few weeks later, on a Wednesday, right before supper, our door opens and some white guys from the county jail I had been in before come walking in. Mr. Shelby is so focused on his precarious predicament that he ignores the fact that I'm standing in front of my cell, even though he knows he's going to be devoured alive. He wasn't made for this, therefore I also realized I couldn't relate to him. He was feeble and had nothing of value to contribute to my life. Shelby believes that starting to gamble away all of his meals will be the greatest way for him to survive in this place, gaining friends by deliberately losing his card games and cheerfully repaying the loan. He starts giving folks the runaround since he is so amiable, coffee, cigarettes, food, and snacks, and he essentially turns into the person you can ask for anything and he'll just give it to you without asking anything in return. Who would you guess was a cellmate of his? Yes, the homosexual, vagrant, attractive black man who helped someone pass on. This is where it starts to become something I will always remember. This homeless man is always drinking coffee, it seems to me, no matter what time of day. He also constantly nibbles on something. He is not a gambler. He receives no money from his family for commissary. He always has some coffee and food. How and why is that? When I finally realized this, after spending almost 3 weeks here, Shelby appears to have a large social circle. He merely said hi and gave me a quick update. I was brevity and icy. I'm watching TV one day. Shelby approaches me and says, "This freak keeps stealing my stuff." He just goes into my box and gets whatever he wants without even asking me, referring to his cage. He simply accepts it. I stroll by his cell to find out who he is referring to, and sure enough, it's the man on the streets. Why are you telling me about it then? I discreetly return to my seat at the TV and inform Shelby. Take care of your affairs and force him to stop. Then he asks me, what ought I to do? If I were you, I would enter, break open his head, take everything he was carrying, including himself, and throw him from the cell block. I would also put that guy on the door. Shelby makes a stupid move after that. When he enters the cage, the homeless man is seated on Shelby's bed, sipping coffee and munching on a honey bun. "I'm tired of you taking my stuff and drinking my coffee without asking." Shelby snaps at him. "You should quit. It's nonsense. You're doing some pretty pathetic things there." Everybody heard and saw it. After leaving the jail, he turns to face the TV and gives me a satisfied smile. I'm standing now with a clear view into Shelby's cell. The man on the streets is lacing up his tennis shoes and pulling off his jumpsuit. He's getting ready for a duel. Too stupid for Shelby to notice. After a short while, Shelby walks to his cell to retrieve food or something else, only to be struck squarely in the mouth. Without saying anything, he simply gave Shelby a single drilling shot, and Shelby left while clutching his bleeding mouth. The homeless man now had free run to take Shelby's belongings whenever he pleased, and he did since he was too afraid to fight back. Over the next few days, Shelby began to appear battered. As far as I could tell, he was simply struck in the mouth, but the next day he had a black eye and a broken lip. It continued to worsen. After a few days, he had an even worse busted lip in addition to 2 black eyes. What is happening? Nobody ever witnessed the moment he was struck. We get shut down at night, so that must be when it is happening. Recall that they share a cell. At least 3 other individuals are aware of what happens to him at night because there are 5 people in a cell. After about a week and a half, Shelby has a terrible appearance. He is worn out and exhausted, and he has stopped gaming. Shelby's fellow cellmates approach Shelby and I as we are relaxing in our cell and smoking cigarettes. They're ebony. They say, "Hey, you guys need to help Shelby. You need to do something." What? The man has an issue if all he's doing is manipulating Shelby and stealing his meals. We're not that concerned. However, their reply was abhorrent. "No, man, it's worse than that. He's slapping the guy every night now," they claimed. Shelby is threatened with death by this guy brandishing a knife if he doesn't slurp him. I now see why Shelby has disappeared, why he always gives off that 1,000-yard stare, and why he gets banged up. Now, everything becomes sense. We can't have that kind of behavior on our block, and the black community is against what my biker friend and I are going to do to this homeless man. We enter Shelby's cell and begin trampling this guy very immediately. Putting a stomp on his life. Even though he is making an effort to hide his face, our boots are able to go right through his barriers. We take all of our resentment at the legal system and the way we are handled by the authorities out on this guy. Would you like to make this kid slurp you? Are you a predator? Not right now. You are now a part of our family. Curled up on his bunk bed, Shelby is observing. I see that this homeless man has fluid pouring from his mouth, nose, and eyes, and his teeth are missing. He is leaky, and not just a little bit. Telling him to stop, the other black males fear we could murder him. I stop because I don't want a life sentence. Not my pal, though. I begin gathering up everything this guy owns and hauling it all to the cell block's front door. I throw everything he owns into Shelby's cell. Now, everything is Shelby's. We pull the man without a home shoes off of him. Now, they belong to Shelby. We take off all of his clothes and pull him to the cell block's front door. I lean over him, meet his gaze, and urge him to get off our block and mule kick this door until a correctional officer opens it. I stand up and kick him once more. He was gasping for oxygen after, so I knew it was a successful one. I yell at Shelby, asking him if he wants to hit a few before this asshole walks away. Not a reply. I tell the homeless man to kick the door along with my friend. He stands up gradually and does. Soon after, the man practically collapses in front of her as an irate cop opens the door. After realizing what has transpired, she realizes she needs to move quickly because D-Block has banded together to remove him from the block. Follow closely behind her and drag him the remainder of the way out. He has left. We return and speak with Shelby. Please accept our apology for not doing that sooner and give him some smokes. He should have come to us at some time. We simply didn't know what was going on. Some things are just ridiculous, and forced slurping was one of them, even though we had little care for his problems. Upon leaving Pelham, I had a strong sense that Shelby was in capable hands. He was the quintessential white boy who'd had enough. I didn't see him or hear from him again. Before I departed, he did thank me. I hugged him and told him to never stop fighting, whatever the circumstances.